Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Dragon's Waterfall, your channel about Knights of the Zodiac, aka Saiyan. And today we shall be ranking the 10 Bronze Knights who have appeared so far in the series, from the weakest to the strongest. But before we begin, as usual, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and talk about Saiyan with your friends, so that more and more people can enjoy this wonderful show. Just a note before we begin, this video will only take into account what we've seen so far in the Netflix series. I won't be taking into account the original series, nor what's probably going to happen later on in Season 2. So let's begin with number 10, and in the last position we have Lionette Ban. He never does anything in the actual series. We never see him fight. He's defeated off screen somehow. We never see his special attacks, and he just doesn't appear to be anything particularly strong. There's not much really we can say about him. We hardly ever see him even wear his clothes, and really he goes dead last in 10th position. And up in 9th position, so just slightly better but not by much, is the Wolf Knight Nacho. And what I just said about Ban also goes for Nacho. We never see him fight in the series, we never see him use any special attacks. We don't know how strong he is, but he gets defeated off screen and he never really has a moment to shine. So just like Ban, we don't have enough information to classify him, but if he was defeated so easily, then he's going to the bottom of the list. And really, I only put him 9th instead of 10th because he looks a little bit cooler, but both him and Ban are pretty much at the bottom of the ranking. Now, moving up a little bit, in 8th position we have Gekki, the Hydronite who battles against Magnus. And he doesn't show much, but at least we do get to see the claws of the Hydra armor, and he mentions them being poisonous, so we know he has at least the potential to be dangerous. He doesn't show much either, but he does show a little bit more than the other two, and we put him 8th for this reason. Now, in number 7, again, sticking to the minor Bronze Knights, we have the Bear Knight Gekki. And Gekki is the one who fights against Saiyan in the first battle. And he does show a little bit of strength and skill. He's a very physical knight, very muscular. It looks like it's a little bit of an effort for Saiyan to defeat him. He's really no match for him. He doesn't have any special attack that we can see. He never burns his Cosmo, but he does seem to be a little bit stronger than Gekki, Nacho and Ban, and for this reason he goes in 7th position. And then in 6th position, you probably guessed it by now, we have Jab, the Unicorn Knight, who's defeated by Sean in the Galaxian tournament. And Jab does appear to be a little bit better than the rest. He is at least capable of putting up some resistance against Sean's Nebula Chain. He's obviously no match for her and gets defeated quite roundly, but he does appear to be stronger than Gekki, Gekki, Nacho and Ban. He's also more determined and more courageous. He's able to stand up a few times after being hit, and doesn't give up as easily as the others probably did. For this reason, I believe he is the 6th strongest Bronze Knight. But that's enough for the minor Bronze Knights. Let's kick into gear with position 5. And ranked in 5 we have Cygnus Magnus. Now, this is tricky because Cygnus is one of the main characters, and he will go on to have an important role later on in the series. However, as I said, I'm basing this ranking only on what we've seen so far. And Magnus is quite good when he enters the story for the first time. He easily defeats Ichi, and he seems to be on par with Wong and Sean, at least. However, he never actually has a Silver Knight to defeat for himself. He mostly seems to be taking care of the cannon fodder. His ice powers are quite strong, and he's certainly a determined fighter, but we just never see him being in a difficult situation and being able to overcome his limits like the others did. And really, we haven't fully explored yet the entire extent of his icy powers, but from what we've seen so far, he goes in 5th position. Then, in 4th position, we have Sean. And Sean has actually had a lot of time to shine in the Netflix series. She is the one who finds the weakness of the Black Knights, and she generally appears to be a determined, compassionate, but resourceful warrior. I'm putting her in 4th because she never battled a Silver Knight on her own, so we don't know what she's capable of put against a more powerful opponent. She did do quite well against the Black Knights, however. She appeared to do a little bit better than Magnus, which is why she is 1 position higher than him. In 3rd position then, we have Dragon Wong, and for the most part, what we said for Magnus also goes for Wong, in that against the Black Knights in particular, he doesn't seem to do as much as Sean does. However, Wong is instrumental in defeating Algor, the Silver Knight, and we see that when he's in a crisis with his back against the wall, he's capable of finding new resources and overcoming the enemy. His determination is what allowed him to win against Algor, and what seems to make him look stronger than Sean and Magnus. Also, when we see the 4 main knights in the opening, Wong has a more prominent position than Magnus and Sean, and he's at the opposite pole from Seiya. And usually openings are not random, but they tend to put the main character at one end and the second strongest character at the opposite end. So it's a subtle hint that Wong may be a little bit stronger than Magnus and Sean. He also has the advantage of his armor, which has the strongest shield and the strongest fist. And even though they haven't always proved to be invincible, they are still quite useful against most enemies. And finally, Wong is the one knight who Seiya takes with him when he goes to fight against Vandergurad, tasking Sean and Magnus with going to the helicopter launch pad instead. So again, it looks like Seiya slightly trusts Wong a little bit more than the other two. So for all these reasons, Wong goes in 3rd position. And in 2nd position, we find Seiya himself, the main character. And this may look like a contradiction, because Seiya is of course the main character and is the one always defeating these enemies, but I'll be explaining it in a moment when we go to the 1st position. But Seiya has proven himself several times. Not only did he defeat Gekki and Wong himself in the Galaxian tournament, but he was also the one to defeat most Silver Knights. And we see that every time he's apparently about to be defeated, he manages to find a way to get up on his feet again and defeat the enemy instead. He's very resourceful. He's not physically the strongest knight, but he's the one who's capable of taking the most punishment and getting up again to fight. So he has an incredible determination and spirit. And this spirit is also what makes him the leader of the group, convincing even independent knights like Magnus to follow him. We see him being capable of defeating Vandergurad, And for example, when the Claw Knight Damien attacks, Seiya is the first one to be able to free himself from the feathers of the claws that Damien carries with him, whereas Long, Magnus and Sean take longer to do the same. So generally speaking, he seems to have another gear compared to the others. And last, in first position, the strongest Bronze Knight at this stage is Phoenix Nero. And really, Phoenix is pretty much the anti-hero, or the Vegeta of the series, if you like. He is so strong because he is the first main antagonist that the main 4 Bronze Knights have to overcome. And he seems to be individually stronger than any of them, and it takes the combined power of the 4 of them together to be able to defeat him. It's true that Seiya is the one who delivers the final blow, but is only able to do so thanks to the help of Long, Sean and Magnus. Also, Phoenix Nero wears the immortal armor, the Phoenix armor, which always reforms and reforges itself, making him almost immortal in a way. We see how easily he defeats the Silver Knights once he comes back after the battle against Seiya, and we never really see him in trouble except against the combined power of the main 4 Bronze Knights. He also is the only knight to also have a psychic attack, the Phoenix Illusion Fist, and he doesn't only rely on his Phoenix Wings takeoff attack, but the Phoenix Wings are also an extremely powerful attack, and they seem to be even stronger than Pegasus' Meteor Fist or Rodan's Shen Robot. As an enemy turn on the trend, Nero is a little bit of the last resource. He's the one who appears when everybody else is in trouble. And so, for this reason, we put Nero on top as the strongest Bronze Knight at this stage in the series. We will return to this ranking later on, after Season 2, to see how and if things changed. But for now, this is it, and I'll see you soon. Bye!